The engine from the Extreme 125R is a nice and smooth engine. It always was, still is. And now they've added a ride-by-wire throttle to it. So this 125cc motorcycle, which makes 11.5 bhp, has riding modes.
Allah.
And cruise control.
What the?
Doesn't have wheelie control, doesn't have traction control. Honestly, it doesn't need either of those two things.
Button operated side stand?
Not yet. Button operated and illuminated side stand are still
Tell
not
them,
available.
man.
That's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
This is called the Hero Glamour X. I think that will come on the Hero Glamour XX. Right? Please tell me what you think should be on the Glamour XXX then. Now, what Hero is basically saying is the cutest thing ever because it's both true, it's a little bit sad, and it is 100% what we have to get through before we take the next step. Which is that Hero suddenly discovered that there was a real drop in the sales of the HF Deluxe, which is their absolute baseline model. And people just weren't willing to buy it anymore. And they couldn't initially understand what was going on.
Okay.
Then they created a motorcycle called the HF Deluxe Pro, which has a few extra things, and the sales started to pick up again. And it turns out that even in the commuter class, status is a thing, and selling a basic motorcycle is not good enough anymore.
Right.
So what the Glamour X is doing is it's taking a motorcycle which is closer to the Extreme 125R in terms of premium appeal, but not sporty, not modern. It's a basic commuter, but it is loaded with what that customer might think are features.
Would the Shine 125 SP be a parallel to this?
SP is very close parallel to it, but SP doesn't have these many features in it.
Understood. But the idea is the same.
Idea
Because even
is
when
very
the
similar.
SP came, I was like a little like
Yeah,
a Shine that's become cool.
Correct. So the idea is that this customer says, I don't want a 150 or can't afford a 150. I don't want anything larger for sure. I value this 60 odd kilometers per liter that I'm getting. I want all of these things, but I want a cooler machine.
Right.
And to have a cooler machine, Hero's given you a slightly tall screen on top of the bikini fairing. So it looks a little bit more substantial. The design reminds you of the old Glamour, but it's cleaned up and it's one of the cleaner, better finished motorcycles that we've seen from Hero. Caveat, these were all pre-production motorcycles. Production is not started. So it is easier to control finish levels on pre-production machines because you're building them effectively by hand, as it were. In production, we'll see. I'm not expecting a disaster there. But it's got traction, did I say traction control? It's got cruise control. It's got what Hero calls ERA Tech, Advanced Electronic Rider Assistance.
Okay.
Which doesn't mean anything because it is basically, it can detect that you're braking really hard and flash the indicators.
Sorry, say again?
It can detect that you're braking really hard and flash the indicators.
It does that?
It does that. Then it's got the modes, and there's 3 riding modes, not just 2. So it's Eco, Road, and Sport. 11.5 bhp machine, don't forget. Then LED headlights, LED tail lights. On the top model, everything is LED. On the bottom, the indicators are still bulb units, and that also has a drum brake. So if you think about what they've done, they've taken a reasonably smooth commuter. It is still a reasonably smooth commuter.
I want to know how much of a difference is there in acceleration in the different ride modes?
I'll come to the riding modes because they're not completely useless, and they are also completely useless, both. Okay, so the overarching impression I have is I rode this motorcycle about 55 kilometers in total. I didn't feel like I needed to ride it any longer than this. I left from this hotel near the Kukus area, went up to Nahargarh and came back. In the corners, it's pleasant. On the bad roads, it manages itself pretty reasonably well, especially at lower speeds. And a lot of these people are not going to be traveling at super high speeds in the first place, so that's okay. The seat did annoy me a little bit, but I know that if they were to make the actual technically good seat, the showroom guys would not be able to sell this motorcycle and convince them that this is actually good for you. So I know what they've done. This is a decent motorcycle. There is not much to discuss. The Extreme 125 is a good commuter, not very exciting to ride. I wish that was the picture of the Extreme 125. This is the same kind of motorcycle, but in this class, not being super exciting to ride, I think works.
So you said the Extreme 125 is not super
No, it's super linear, that engine. So it's smooth, it's easy, it handles, but it doesn't feel like there's any activity actually happening, although you can see that you're making progress and you're overtaking things and all of that. So I think it could be a little bit more fun, but it's not. And in that class, I think that's a delta that could be extracted further.
Especially when you juxtapose it with the Glamour X now being in place.
Yeah, so when you see the Glamour X not being exciting and linear and all of that, you're like, yeah, this makes sense.
That's fine.
That's fine.
But then the extreme should be.
But the extreme could be turned up a little bit, which Hero will not do, because why fix what has not, clearly is not broken and people love it, right? So the fun part about this motorcycle is, for example, that the cruise control does work. You can set a speed and then it goes that speed.
But smoothly, it does move up and down. And
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's a really crude system. So first, this is not a fast motorcycle. So if you're going, say, 40 kilometers an hour and you decide to set cruise to 64, it could take a long time to get to 64. Yes, because Hero says if I were to open the taps and give it acceleration, we'd lose economy A, but you'd lose the smoothness in the experience. Right? So it takes a while to get to that speed. And then when it gets to that speed, it might overshoot it a little bit and then come back to it. Because it's not a sophisticated system, it doesn't have quick reactions. So on the Kuka stretch, you've driven that stretch. It's not, doesn't have major elevation changes. That's in the Nahargarh area, right? Even there, gentle slopes, it has trouble holding on to its speed. It's in the neighborhood, but it's not precise. But it sort of works. In economy mode, getting to the selected speed could take a while. In power mode or whatever, it takes less time. But does it hold on to that speed very firmly as you would on a sophisticated machine? No, it's a functioning cruise control system, which for the segment is good enough. Because I believe this is like the Bluetooth system on all motorcycles today. Can you sell a motorcycle without Bluetooth today? No, you can't. Is there anybody out there who's actively using Bluetooth every day on their motorcycles? No, there's nobody out there doing that either.
not via the motorcycle for sure, yeah.
Yeah, but as somebody said, the customer will say, oh, do I use the Bluetooth? No, I don't use the Bluetooth.
Correct.
And then you say, so can we remove the Bluetooth and give you a lower price point? How the hell will you give me a motorcycle without Bluetooth? No, I don't want any of that. Right? So this has a USB-C port. Will you use it? I don't think so. But can you sell the motorcycle without it anymore? No, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Right? So this motorcycle is jammed full of features like this.
This was a small clip of our conversation about Hero's new Glamour X, which is a 125cc commuter and it has got some segment firsts. And we've had a conversation about what these features really mean. We'd like to know what you think about them as well. So join us on the MotorInc app, which is free to download, free to sign up on, and you can watch the Motoring First there for free as well. See you in the conversations there.